The Horror Advocate's Guide to Streaming with Intention, my favorite thing that I've created and got to work on consistently. What I love so much about this resource I created is that it is ever evolving. There'll never be a reason for it to not be relevant. It's a selection of curated lists that are tailored around my mind maps. It's built to walk viewers through horror film with consideration toward equity, impact, and depth, shifting perspectives on where horror belongs and how it shows up. The guide is meant as context for when you're watching films and to help you suspend your expectations and make your mind amendable. So that's the idea behind the Horror Advocate's Guide to Streaming with Intention. If we want to take a look at what this list really ends up looking like, how I'm breaking the list up, how I'm coding, and why that's relevant, we can take a look at one of my most popular lists that I've created, known as underrated horror films. So I made this list in 2023, just did a small update in 2024, and I'm going to do another update in 2025. This is what it looks like. Each section is broken up by one of the mind maps that I've created. So next, I want to talk about institutions and industries. This is THA's list that depicts a mastery of social contexts, such as climate change, immigration and emigration, educational abuse, and mental health industry. So I really love working on this one because, again, these are very grounded concepts. It's very easy for me to have somebody understand my coding and understand my train of thinking when I'm working with these more like culturally contextual mind maps and lists. So climate change is one that I love to create. I believe in knowing what words mean, and I also believe in understanding the multiple ways a word can be used, multiple definitions, multiple intentions. So my absolute favorite that I have ever categorized under climate change is Tales from the Hood from 1995. Usually people don't understand why I'm including that one, but for me, that's the tone of that entire movie. It's about facing reality. It's about changing your environment, changing the climate that you have been instrumental in creating. And the way that that film goes down, I don't see how, after hearing me say that, wouldn't be able to see those threads. It's so much about climate change, the social climate, the political climate, the police climate, the story about the young boy who's afraid of a monster, talking about child abuse, talking about what it means to, keep our business in the house and what that actually does and who that actually affects and damages. Talking about changing that climate, the climate of family. A lot of what those stories were getting at was about breaking that barrier in Black culture about discussing certain things, about being open about certain things, about being honest about certain things, because it's been such a survival mode for Black people for so long that a lot of these areas that are really important, we culturally haven't had time to address or look at. Legal attacks, laws being written down, mandates, your body being an actual weapon that you're not even aware of. So there's a lot going on. And so a lot of times we forget that our own health, that our own sanity, that our own happiness is just as, if not more important than everything else we're concerned with. Everyone gets tired. And I think that Tales from the Hood was sort of I don't know, a love letter to Black people or a word to Black people about healing your inner world, healing the world around you, facing what we're up against, not just externally, but internally, and using that information to do better next time. So for me, that is the ultimate climate change film. Lots of people will disagree because of that interpretation I just used, but well, like I said, I believe in the power of words and I believe in understanding that words have multiple applications.